As Nigerians continue to debate over the creation of a new livestock ministry, the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, announced new measures aimed at reducing food prices within the next 180 days. The Minister of Agriculture shared the details on Wednesday in a statement on social media X, outlining a series of initiatives that will be rolled out to address the escalating food costs, which includes a 150-day duty-free import window for commodities and the suspension of duties, tariffs, and taxes for the importation of certain food commodities through land and sea borders. Our rice business analyst Chika Mbonu joins me now here live in our Lagos studios. Good morning. You've seen the details. The devil is always in the details. Can this be executed effectively? 180 days sounds like a treasure bills, whatever. Okay, let's just have a good laugh. It's a Thursday, by the way. Okay.
God, you don't see, Wilson, I don't have to comment on Nigerian problems again because they ask me a question: is the time frame 180 days sufficient? I'm sure the next thing you're going to ask me now is, can this be executed? You know, I've said it several times on this program that our problem is not the planning. Our problem is not the planning. We have the best laid plans in this country. Our problem always has to do with implementation. Now, that's what I call root cause analysis when we're trying to analyze some problems. And you basically, as the name suggests, you're asking yourself, where is the root cause of this problem? So let's start from the market.
How did we get here?
How did we get here? So the prices of food commodities have spiraled out of proportion. And whether it's rice or maize or sorghum or wheat, whatever it is, or even bread, everything. And then you have at the same time the pass-through effect of two things that have happened in the country since the new government came into power. One of them is the removal of the fuel subsidies, expected. At that time, most of us said, okay, this is the right thing to do. The operation of the free market in the foreign exchange market, which tried to mark our express rate to market, removing all the subsidy again on FX, which we said, okay, that. So all those, what the impact, got prices to the roof. But you also know that the price of every commodity is determined by what? The supply and demand. The supply and demand. So how have we been feeding our country all this while? Because of the fact that from what we get from our farms, we supplement it from some food imports. And the nation has been going on. Prices have been stable and so on. So what went wrong? So that's the question we're going to ask.
So what went wrong? How did we get here?
Yeah. And so increasingly, you've been reading that the food belts of our country, have been submerged by security challenges. You heard, what I've not witnessed it, but you read every day about the fact that farmers now, you have to go to the farm, have to pay, a ransom before they go to the farm. If they have to harvest, they have to pay ransom before they harvest. And then some of them also, the report is sent out by SBM Intelligence, said a lot of the farmers now, they have their own security agents that escort them to the farms. Some of them say they pay
close protection.
Yeah, close protection. Some of them say they pay about 300,000, 350,000 naira every month to protect them and their farm and their products. And that, of course, again, will be put onto the price of the commodities.
What was just been announced is a massive importation.
Yeah.
And taking off duties, tariffs, and taxes on those grains.
Good, because again, what the nation can't starve. So I'm not here to pontificate that we should just wait for the harvest of our farmers in the country, to come
to feed the people.
Feed the people. The issue that people are suffering, and you go to the market, everybody's lamenting. But in the short term, people have to be fed.
Will imported food, rice, meat, wheat, will it crash prices? I'm trying not to use the word crash because will it lower prices really, or just provide sufficiency?
Again, Wilson, the problem I have, is this, that the fact that in sending out this press release, there were two things that scared me, or two phrases. One of them is the RRP, which is the recommended retail price.
Price control. An acronym for, yeah.
Yeah. Then another one, GMP, guaranteed market price.
Price.
So, again.
Another one for government modulating prices of these imported items.
Do remember that the price of every commodity
is a function of demand
and what
and supply.
And supply.
So
we have had programs like this in the past. We have a group of people who were close to the government, hijacked it and put their own premiums and so on and so forth. And then that's how, the citizens didn't get the benefit of this good largesse.
The first question is still about the execution. So if the government is the one importing, well, we're not having clarity yet as to whether it's the government agencies that will do it or the private sector will do it.
No, the private sector, the government is importing bulk, about 250,000 metric tons of maize, 2,000 metric tons of I think wheat or sorghum.
So how would government? How would the government distribute
do that one and bring that one semi-processed, give it to processing, and then allow a window for private sector to import duty-free of taxes and levies and stuff like that. That's the thing. That's why the LCC and the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry have been say thank God for that. Because the private sector is going to be allowed to go and bring in that. We're hoping that if those duties and levies and taxes are removed, the landed cost of items will be lower.
Or the exchange rate?
And whatever it is, the landed cost will be lower, and they'll pass on those subsidies to the citizens of the country. And so rice will be, But remember what I said, it depends on the quantum of supply. I don't know the day, how long more? Do we have the resources to import food this way? Must go back. And get things right. This country has suffered from various acronyms of farm, Operation Feed the Nation, this one, that, this one, that.
MAMSA and the rest of them.
Yes. Yet, there's no food in the table.
So there's no free lunch. And whatever you subsidize, someone has to pay. So government is going to lose duties, levies, and taxes. Does that sound how does that sound to you?
In an economy where we are trying to chase revenues, where our problem is the issue of the paucity of revenue, where we have the issue is that the government, remember when the government objective this year is to drive up revenue to GDP ratio.
Yes.
That's objective. So immediately, the duties on this something, it was too short. I couldn't do a back of envelope calculation or the potential duty lost by the government over this window. So that's going to be
huge as well. Hundreds of billions.
Even the custom
revenue
IG has come out and say they did half year 2.7 trillion in revenues out of a budget of 5 trillion, and of course that the government policy has to be implemented. But how custom does and stuff like that. Everything has to be written to the letter, and that's another thing I want to bring up. So that everything has to be with clarity. None of the people go out now on this basis of government initiatives that go and bring items in. And then they'll start telling them, there's one comma somewhere here. Turn to the back of the disapproval. There's one is they didn't put there. You have to pay this, you have to pay that. And before the things come out again from the port, the cost will be out of hand.
Or those grains, whatever, get spoiled, get delayed and spoiled.
So it's a sad time for our country, really sad time. Because that a nation that cannot feed itself.
So the flip side of this conversation is the fact that we're going to do massive imports. What about the local rice producers? Because those folks said, look, why don't you just incentivize us locally? But then, like you said, do we have enough time for that? Yes, 180-day window.
We have to feed the people.
Yes.
And then go back and do sincere implementation.
Do you see what the Minister of Agriculture rolled out? Do you see the flip side of it in terms of just implementation, but also supporting, bringing tractors, supporting local farmers? Does that sound like some...
They thought about the fact that the wet season farming, which is like key in Nigeria.
Yes.
The main thing in Nigeria, they're going to support the smallholder farmers. But more important also the dry season farming, which is important. But remember what has happened, that there's a pass-through impact on the inputs to farmers. For the poultry, for example, the feeds, that you make with livestock, which you do with maize or sorghum or cowpeas, they went to the roof. Okay, the equipment that you use for farming or whatever, they went to the roof because of the pricing issue.
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of people now also who are farmers have closed their farms. Of course, that the issue of the seasonal flood we have in our country, but that's where the issue of silos. At the time in this country, I knew that we had silos all over the country.
Yes, we did.
Indeed, when I was,
we were growing up, yeah.
I knew of everywhere a client of mine who was involved in building all this everywhere,
Yes.
and they were all, stacked full with, so that when you have flooding, these things are released from those silos and to support a managed price. But so it's just, anytime you look at Nigeria as a country, you just shake your head because you just say, our problem is actually, leadership.
Or the human element.
The human element.
The human factors. And that was the last question, so I don't need to ask you that anymore. The human element in the whole thing. The human risk factor.
Some people are smiling now, establishing companies, setting up companies to, profit from this thing.
Yeah, you are smiling. No, you're smiling. You're smiling. And that's Chika Mbonu, Rice business analyst here on Global Business.